Hey, what's up guys, Mason here. This is episode 6 of Luke. This is my Luke series. I'm going through every single chapter of Luke. We're reading through every single chapter of Luke until the day of Easter. So hopefully if I've calculated this correctly, it should be ending on the last chapter of Luke. It should be the Easter day. This is just going to be a reading of Luke. This is a Bible study kind of for me. And if anybody else watching this, or you can just listen to it too. I'll have it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then YouTube. So this is a Bible study because in the area that I'm at now, it's all new. So I don't have a Bible study group yet. So we're going to do a Bible study on here. And hopefully you guys have either, if you have comments, questions, facts, anything that's super interesting, your favorite verse, anything like that, I love to hear it in the comments. That way I can feel like I'm actually having a Bible study with a group of people. Even if that's just 5 of us, that's super cool and chill. Luke 6, Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. That's what we're going over. Luke 6, verse 1. On a Sabbath, while he was going through the grain fields, his disciples plucked and ate some heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands. But some of the Pharisees said, "Why are you doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath?" And Jesus answered them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? He and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and took and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and also gave it to those with him. And he said to them, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." So the Pharisees come after him and his disciples, but Jesus knows all. So Jesus knows to relate it to David and asks the Pharisee, he's like, so was David wrong? Was David wrong in what he did? Or are you now going to say that parts of the Old Testament are wrong? You're putting too many rules on God that God did not put in place himself. Let's go to verse 6, a man with a withered hand. On another Sabbath he entered the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and the Pharisees watched him to see whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. But he knew their thoughts, and he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come and stand here." And he rose and stood there. And Jesus said to them, "I ask you, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to destroy it?" And after looking around at them all, he said to them, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored. But they were filled with fury and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. So we've started seeing it already, but this is another example of the Pharisees starting to really come after Jesus, or at least start to talk about coming after Jesus. And this is another crazy thing, because Jesus says in verse 9, "I ask you, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm?" So he's asking, should I not heal this man on the Sabbath? Should I not do something good on the Sabbath? Should I not tithe on the Sabbath? Should I not, if there's a parable later on, if your son falls down a well, should you not save him because it's the Sabbath? And that would be considered a work. Should you not save your son if he falls down a well because that's considered work on the Sabbath? Should you just let him die? So I think this is super good here because he says, should you do good or do harm? Which one? It's another way that he's putting the Pharisees in a box, cornering them. Verse 12, the 12 apostles. In these days he went out to the mountains to pray, and all night he continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12, whom he named apostles: Simon, who he named Peter later on, and Andrew his brother, James, John, the son of Zebedee, Philip and Bartholomew, and Matthew and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon who was called the Zealot, and Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor later on. I just want to tone in on verse 12 here. In these days he went out to the mountains to pray, and all night he continued in prayer to God. This is super cool. I wish I could pray like this, but it's so difficult to, at least for me, it's so difficult to stay in prayer for long periods of time. Where Jesus was able to sit there and pray for all night. My mind goes to completely other things. If I start praying if I start praying within a few minutes, I'm already thinking about other stuff, and I have to keep myself focused on praying. But Jesus is able to just keep himself there all night. It's fantastic. I wish that's something that I need to work on a little bit better, because I wish I could pray without constantly having outside influencing my brain in the middle of prayer. And then I could just be steeped in prayer. Let's go to verse 17. And he came down with them and stood on a level place with a great crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and the sea coast of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him and be healed of their diseases. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were cured, and all the crowd sought to touch him, and power came out from him and healed them all. Let's go to verse 20. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you and when they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in the day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for so their Father did to the prophets. Let's go hit that verse 22 down again. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. So blessed are you if people hate you for being in faith with God. Blessed are you. Verse 23, Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for so their fathers did to the prophets. Jesus is saying that the prophets also were scorned. They were yelled at, reviled. And if that has happened to you, blessed are you. All right, let's hit verse 24 here. Jesus pronounces woes. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you shall be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all people speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. He's giving woes to people that are rich, full, that are laughing, right? If you read that like that, that's how it sounds if you just read at face value. However, the woes aren't like, oh, you're not allowed to have money. Because he never says that you're not allowed to have money. As long as you are doing the things that you're supposed to be, if you're tithing, if money is not your God. So if you are reaching for all these other things that he's talked about and not reaching towards God first and having God first, then woe to you. Like verse 26. Woe to you when all people speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. If all you care about is what others speak of you and what others think of you, and if your happiness comes from what others speak of you, then woe to you. If your happiness, which for all of us, some of it does obviously, but you should not be looking for appraisal from other people. You should be looking for God's appraisal. You should be looking to serve God, to worship God. And he should be first. That's what I get from this. And let's go to love your enemies on verse 27. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also, and from one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. I want to go back over that because this is a very important thing that you can take to the rest of your day and for the rest of your life. If you haven't read this yet, in Luke, verse 27, but I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also, and from one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you. And from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. Man, this is completely the opposite way of what we're taught. I mean, we're all taught, well, not all of us, but most of us are taught, if somebody hits you, hit them back harder. Like they deserve it, right? Here, Jesus is saying, if they strike you on the cheek, offer the other also. If they tell you to go a mile, go 2. If they ask you to go a mile with them or force you to go a mile with them, go 2 miles with them instead. Show them how Christ has changed your life, and through you, Christ will use you to change others also. I just really like this one paragraph here. It's so interesting because it's so far off from what our lives are like now. So super intriguing. Love that. Just another way to tell how different Jesus is and that he really is God. And people back then didn't think like this either. It's not like, oh, everyone thought like this. This is just Jesus. People thought he was crazy. People thought, if somebody strikes you on the cheek, why would I also give them the other cheek? If somebody stole my tunic or my cloak, why would I also allow them to have my tunic? If somebody forced me to go a mile, why would I go 2? Like, why do they deserve that? That's unconditional love that Jesus has for everybody. And if somebody does something to you, you pray for those who abuse you and bless those who curse you. Try to have unconditional love as Jesus and God has for us. Show them that unconditional love that we get shown every day. Let's go back to verse 32. If you love those who love you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount, but love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Be merciful even as your Father is merciful. Let's go to 35 again. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. He doesn't expect you to do works, right? Because that's not how you get into heaven. However, you should not be generous because you're expecting something in return. You should not be tithing because you're expecting something. That's getting into the form of karma and other stuff like that. We shouldn't even think about that. You should be generous because you should be having unconditional love for others. You should be generous to be generous, not because, oh, this might come back and do something good for you later on, or, oh, me being generous looks good to God, so let me do that. That's not what he's saying here. He's saying love your enemies, do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return. You should be lending and expecting nothing. And be okay if you get absolutely nothing in return for any kindness or anything. If you are kind to somebody and they are not kind back, you should be okay with that. If you are generous, if you give somebody a ride home from work, you should be okay with them not giving you a ride home from work later. You should have zero expectation from your generosity. You should have zero expectation from when you give something or are generous to others. You should have zero expectation on receiving something back. And I think that's something that I struggle with constantly, because since I was born, I was taught, oh yeah, if you're generous to others, they'll be generous to you. That's just not the case. It's the real world. I should not expect others to give me anything in return. I should expect nothing, in fact, like Jesus says here. I should expect to be generous and receive nothing. Because that would be unconditional love that God shows us, that I am trying to show others. That should be what I'm striving for. And that's super difficult. I try so hard to do that, and it's very, very difficult. But it is something that we should definitely strive for. Let's go to verse 37 about judging others. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A lot of people love this give and it will be given to you thing because they expect more back. Let's go back to verse 38 here. Give and it will not be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. So what you do to others will be done right back to you. So if you're judgeful, you will also be judged. If you condemn some, you will be condemned. Give and it will be given back to you. That doesn't mean to be generous and expect something to be given back, because that's not what he's saying. If you're generous to somebody now, that does not mean that they need to immediately be generous right back to you. But this is for you, that what you give will be given back to you, and the measure you use will be measured back to you as well. It's a way he's telling you that do not condemn others because you will be condemned, and do not judge others because you will be judged in the exact same way, in the exact same harshness that you've judged others. Let's go to verse 39. He also told them a parable. Can a blind man lead a blind man? Will they not both fall into a pit? A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like this teacher. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, Brother, let me take out the speck that is in your eye, when you yourself do not see the log that is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take out the speck that is in your brother's eye. This is used so often, like, oh, don't judge me because you have a speck in your eye, you got a log in your eye. You should not be using this parable, which a lot of people are. They use the speck in your eye and the log in their eye. A lot of people use this to come after others. That's not why he said this. He's telling you specifically before you say something, even before you use this on someone else, maybe before you say something, look at yourself first. Because way too often are people using this log and speck in your eye to go after others when they have the same issue. Or if you see somebody struggling with the exact same addiction you're struggling with behind closed doors, if somebody's drinking like excessive amounts, and you come up to them and you talk to them, and you're like, hey, brother, this is the issue I see with you, this is what you should fix. But behind closed doors, you have the exact same issue. You need to look at yourself first. That's what this is about. Looking at yourself before you judge others or before you come to others to help them with their issue. That's what this is about. This is such a specific, the whole thing here is called judging others before verse 37 all the way down to verse 42. It's all about judging others. And you should not be judging others if you struggle behind closed doors with the exact same issue. God knows what you struggle with. He is there every second of every day with you and knows everything in the future and everything in the past. So for you to come after somebody or try to help somebody with the same issue you haven't gotten over or been able to come over or overcome, then that's super hypocritical. Just think of it as you not coming after somebody and being a hypocrite, because you need to self-reflect before anything and pray before anything, especially before you're going to come for someone else. Let's go to verse 43, a tree and its fruit. For no good tree bears bad fruit, nor again does a bad tree bear good fruit. If your foundation is good, if your foundation is in Jesus Christ, why would you bear bad fruit? If your foundation is in drinking alcohol and judging others, why would you bear good fruit? That's how I see that anyway. Verse 44, for each tree is known by its own fruit. For figs are not gathered from thorn bushes, nor are grapes picked from a bramble bush. The good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, this mouth speaks. Let's go to build your house on the rock. That's going to be verse 46 here. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I tell you? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you what he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. And when the flood arose, the stream broke against that house and could not shake it, because it had been well built. But the one who hears and does not do them is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. When the stream broke against it, immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Let's go back to verse 46 here. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I tell you? You call the Lord, you call him Lord. He tells you to do something and you don't do it. He's like, why are you doing this? Why? You ask for my help. You ask for this. I tell you what you need to do. You ask me for help on this addiction that you have, whether it be alcohol, nicotine, whatever it is. Let's just say, for example, you ask me for help to stop smoking. You pray every day, like, please, Lord, help me on this part of my life. He tells you what you need to do and you refuse to do it. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I tell you? All right, that's the end of Luke chapter 6. I'm going to say something today, and this is episode 6. Tomorrow will be episode 7. today, try not to judge others. Reflect on yourself first. And I want you guys to be generous without expecting anything. And I'm going to be doing this as well. Try to do something nice for somebody and expect nothing in return. Listen to the Lord if He tells you something. If somebody smacks you on the cheek, turn the other cheek and give them that cheek also. All right, you guys have a blessed day. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.